Yeah, so MMI Industries, we're developing the next generation of recruiting. We call it psychographic recruiting. So rather than just looking at the technical qualifications of candidates, we look at the real indicators of talent success. So the attitudes, aspirations, problem-solving style, communication style, motivation, and sentiment of candidates, and help our clients find talent that's actually going to last quicker and better than our competitors. Right now, we're really focused within the energy and infrastructure market, but obviously every day we're growing and expanding into both new markets geographically as well as new markets regarding industries that we support. As far as where the idea came from, I come from a big box recruiting background and kind of realized that the way recruiting's approached is really backwards. It's not really a value-added service. So I took the time, worked with a great team, and came up with the answer to what we believe can be the solution to that, which is our psychographic recruiting model. Yeah, so it's probably about 3 months into the business. Before we invested in Recruit CRM, we were running things like it was the 90s. Like we had Excel sheets and paper notes. Like it was backwards. It was very much a startup. We were trying to run really lean. Obviously, that we knew that's not going to work and was not the most efficient. But for me, I've used quite a few different CRMs and APSs in the past in my previous careers. I've used Bullhorn, I've used Pipedrive, I've used Zoho Recruit, and they're all kind of lackluster. They don't really actually deliver on a product that solves our problems and the solutions that we need. And so for me, when I started my search, I went out and I saw the name Recruit CRM, and I was like, all right, that has to be kind of promising. It's kind of generic, but I like it. And when I started reading the reviews and really digging into it, I went, this is the first product that I've seen that's actually built by recruiters for recruiters. You can see it in every aspect of the product. The user interface is very user-friendly for a lot of recruiters aren't necessarily the most tech-savvy people. The actual different functions of the product are all geared towards helping us get our job done. And none of them are flashy things that are just there to look cool. It's all very practical and usable, and we use 95% of the product on it every day. Yeah, so for me, if we're using this 21st century method of recruiting, right, this third gen psychographic model, it made sense that we would use the most modern tools, right? I talk about sales teams and a lot of big box firms are the smile and dial and don't pick up your head till 5 model. They don't care about email cadences. LinkedIn presence means nothing to them. And that's just backwards. So for me, obviously our sales team uses a very different method. But also when it comes to our CRM, I didn't just want a tool that logged data. It needed to be more than that. It needed to be something that really empowers the team to get their day-to-day job done and to really push our message out there and push our mission forward. Well, for starters, your guys' user interface, your UI is amazing. Bullhorn is a disaster. Like it's like I'm gonna constantly just shit on Bullhorn because I hate their product. That's the product I'm the most familiar with and have used the most in a recruiting context. But for one, the user interface is very friendly. It's very clean. It's very crisp. Secondly, you guys took the time to actually go, what tools are important and which ones are not. There's so many flashy tools that Salesforce and Bullhorn and Zoho try to add in. Do like, hey, our product has this, it has that. But like when you look at what a recruiter actually does on a day-to-day basis, 80% of those flashy tools don't even get used. Like they're literally pointless. Whereas I can't think of a single part of your guys' product that we don't use on a daily basis or at least on a weekly basis. If anything, there's always like one or two things I'm like, I wish we had that. And then I send a message like, oh, don't worry, that's rolling out in 2 weeks. Like you're way ahead of us. We're way ahead of you. We've got it coming out in 2 weeks. Like you don't need to worry. And that's the other thing I love about you guys is that when there is like when your products like your product's always on the forefront. And like if we're trying to optimize the product and we find something like, hey, this would be really convenient if we could do this. This is 3 steps ahead of what the other product's doing. And you guys are thinking the same way. You're like, oh, don't worry, we're rolling that out in a month, or we're rolling that out in 2 weeks, and it's there. And it's amazing. Like, I love it. There's for me, that's what I love so much about your product. And when comparing it to other products, I go like, it's just a no-brainer. Instant. No, in all seriousness, my director of recruiting gave me pushback when we first were rolling out the product. She's like, we don't need to be getting the latest and greatest. Like, go buy a cheaper product. And to be honest, I mean, your guys' product isn't that expensive. But she's like, go get a cheaper CRM. Like, why are we spending so much? We can get something. I'm like, you do. Like, and she comes from like doing very boutique, small searches where you have 1 or 2 clients and you're filling 10 roles a year. And that's not what we do here. That's not what our growth is. That's not what we're trying. I'm like Amber, you don't understand. Like, we need this. And literally 2 weeks later, she's like, you were so right. Like, this is amazing. It tracks the jobs, it tracks the deals, it tracks the candidates, it tracks the clients, it tells us everything. It's all there. And so for us, I mean, the results really were instantaneous, especially coming from having, at least with our firm, no previous CRM that we were using, and then coming in straight to your guys' product. But with me having the previous experience and seeing, I know what it's like to have an okay CRM, and I have seen what this is like, and going, it's day and night to me as someone who's now seen all 3 sides of it, not using one, using a mediocre one, and using your guys' product. I mean, it speaks volumes. Our revenue definitely increased, and obviously that's due to another number of factors, but definitely hats off to you all. You guys were definitely part of that. From when we rolled out the product to the following month, we saw about 100% increase in our revenues. Also, when it comes to other aspects around our business, clients are actually being followed up with on time. The biggest thing that was candidate interaction. That's what I'd have to say. Like, the sales, it didn't necessarily massively improve our sales side, because I think we have a pretty good model and we have also other tools. But making sure that candidates are followed up with and that they're given their feedback and why they're passed on or why they're getting their next interview, who they're gonna interview with, especially candidate-facing relations is where we can see the biggest increase. I mean, for us, one of our big selling points is our submission, so candidate submission to hire ratio, is 40%. So the industry average. So in other words, most companies in our industry it takes 8 submissions to get 1 hire. We do it in like just under approximately 3. It's 3 point something. I'd have to go look at the latest data. We're doing our Q2 report here at the end of the week here. But I mean, it's literally half the submissions, and that comes down to better candidate control, better quality of candidates, and having a pipeline that we're able to manage more effectively through your guys' tool. Yeah, so I believe I was one of the more earlier clients for you guys, relatively speaking. And I had the pleasure of Sean actually pitching me the product. And about 10 minutes into the call, I was like, man, like, stop pitching me. You've sold me. Like, I love it. The things that really stood out to me is like the Kanban board for your deal board. It makes it very easy to have the sales team and recruiting team look in one place and see, hey, where are we for the month? Where are we for the year? What's going on? Who are we working with? And then all the other, there's just so many little things to the product that they were so thought out. I love the way the pitch candidate tool works with contacts. I love the way you're able to, like, the fact that your guys' red receipts actually work. The fact that Outlook, an actual provider of emails, can't get that right, but you guys can, is like, I love it. There's just so many little things about the product that are so well done, that it just makes my job so much easier. It makes the job of my recruiters much more efficient, which means that they're more effective and can spend more time creating billings and doing activities that contribute towards billing versus back office administrative tasks that a lot of other softwares kind of really bog you down in having to deal with. I mean, I'd give it like an 11 out of 10. Like I rave on your guys' product constantly. I've already written you guys a Capterra review. Capterra is like, we'll give you Visa cards to write more reviews. I'm like, no, I just wanted to write this one. I don't have time to write others. I just want to write you guys a review. Like, I love your guys' product. I can't speak highly enough of it. Anytime I have a question, your team is responsive. You guys are always rolling out new products. I like literally, there's not a single thing that I can, there's one thing that I can say that I wish was better. And it's something you guys are always working on: integrations. And that's just because you guys are young. And like, I get it. And I'll work with you guys on that. But that comes back to you guys are always rolling out new products. Like that's the only thing I can, if I'm looking for something to say, that's what I'd have to go find. But for me, as a business owner, as a recruiter, as a salesperson, I look at your guys' product and go, it is by and large the best product on the market.